Hi, I'm Antonio Centeno. I'm the founder of Real Men Real Style. Today I'm going to be giving you 5 tips on how to buy the perfect piece of carry-on luggage. There's a lot of you guys out there that are traveling, you're living out of your suitcase, and I want to make sure you make a smart purchasing decision. When you go out there, there's a lot of options, and I'm going to be covering 5 tips to help you make a smart buying decision. Okay, so before we get started, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. By doing that, these videos come right to you and you don't miss any of them. In addition, if you like it or you've got value to add, you've got questions, you want to add your own tips, make sure to leave comments here on YouTube. I love to go through and read those. I try to interact with people in the comments, and I think we all learn more from people that have great things to contribute. Okay, so what are the 5 points? I'm going to really quick run through them. I'm also going to show you guys a piece of luggage that I've been using for about the last year. I'm very happy with, and yeah, so number 1, make sure the size is right. Number 2, make sure it's comfortable. Number 3, make sure you have access to what you need when you're out traveling. Number 4, make sure it's well organized. Got it right down here, so that's what I'm looking at. And adaptability. Make sure that it can maybe adapt to certain needs that you have when you're out traveling. So let's go ahead. I'm going to dive into each of them a little bit deeper. Number 1, make sure it's the right size. If you haven't heard, the new and probably the best measurements are 22 inches by 14 inches by 9 inches. Okay, so let me go ahead and show you the luggage. So I mean 22 inches in length. So that's from the edge of the wheel all the way up to the top. So you want it to be at the most 22 inches in basically height. Then width, you want it 14 inches. 14 inches, yeah, it used to be, and it's kind of confusing, up to 19 inches, but there are certain airlines that have brought it down to 14 inches. I was just reading a story about a woman who got rejected. They measured her. Her luggage was 15 inches wide, and the airline she was flying on basically said that was an inch beyond, and she had to go back in and check that baggage. She almost missed her flight. Don't let that happen to you. Now, height is where it gets kind of interesting. 9 inches is where you're going to be safe. Now, some of you guys may have bags that are 10 inches. I would say this is something you got to be careful about. Now, I'll talk about this a little bit later. A lot of this has to do with the expansion. If your bag is set to be expanded, I would say travel most of the time without it being expanded. If you have to, expand it up, but my tip is always to not expand it unless you have to. There are times, you're in the airport and you've just got to stuff something in there and you've got to expand it, or security is going through your luggage and you don't have time to properly repack it. That's when you would use the expansion on your luggage piece. But yeah, make sure those measurements are right. And for those of you over in Europe or other parts of the world where you guys actually use a good measuring system, the metric system, which I know that's a whole nother argument. But basically, we're looking at 56 centimeters by 36 centimeters by 23 centimeters in height. Okay, so that is, make sure you get the right size. Number 1. Number 2, make sure it's comfortable. Many of you guys, and I know whenever I'm walking, it seems like every time I'm in the Minneapolis-St. Paul airport, I walk across that entire airport. I know they've got like a little shuttle service. I like to walk, but I feel like I walk a mile every time I transfer. Because of that, I want to make sure that what I have is actually comfortable. So there's a few things that I zero in on. One is make sure that the telescopic handle is long. I'm average height, I'm 5'9", but there are some of you guys out there that are 6'9". For you, you want to make sure that telescopic handle is not only strong and secure, but that it's long enough so you're not going to be hunched over. So number 1, make sure that handle is long enough if you're a tall guy especially. Number 2, let's look at those handles. You want handles that are very tightly attached, or you're not going to be afraid to get it ripped off, and it's really nice when they're cushioned. I've had actually handlers grab my bag and say, wow, that feels really good. Now, some of you guys have bags in which they've got 2 wheels, other ones see the 4 wheels. I have to say, I used to be a big fan, and I still do like the 2 wheels, but I became a fan of the 4-wheel setup whenever I found myself in some tight spots. Basically, I was using the bathroom in the airport, and I always used to have to, it was just a struggle when you go into the bathroom and you're in the little area and you're trying to maneuver. I really liked that's where I just found that the four wheels were beautiful, because I could easily maneuver my luggage and do what I need to get done. But I mean, when you find yourself in a tight spot, the four wheels are beautiful. On the flip side, you want to make sure, and that's one thing, if I have one knock on this bag, I've noticed that in the last year, the wheels have started to they've gotten worn a bit. Now, they're still holding up fine, but I do find that the two wheels, one, I find they roll sometimes a little bit smoother than the four wheels, and the four wheels, I think it's going to be a little bit more expensive if I ever have to get that replaced on the luggage. So that would be one thing you want to watch out for. But at this point, I am leaning towards and liking the four-wheel setup. Now, you guys may notice this is Genius Pack. This is made by a friend of mine on the East Coast. Really like his company. I'm going to link to it, but I think they've really come up with a great travel bag, which I highly recommend. Again, I've been using this for almost a year and very impressed with it. So we've talked about size, we've talked about comfort. Let's go ahead and get into access. What do I mean by access? I mean being able to get at what you need. So most bags, especially Carryons, are going to have the two fronts, which this is important, and I use, what I really like about this bag is that it's actually got a padded section up on top for my electronic products, especially, and I carry a charger, which actually the Genius Pack comes, you can actually buy it with a charger for your iPhone or for your Jordan or whatever you want to carry, and it will fit right up in here. In addition, look for additional, this one's got a water pouch for a water bottle on the side. Now, I know some of you guys are saying, okay, you can't ever get through security with a water bottle. Yeah, you can. You just drink all the water. You have an empty plastic bottle. When you go through, you stick it right in there, and when you get to the other side, you fill it up with water. There you go. There's your quick tip on how to not pay $2 to $3 for a bottle of water. So I like it that they've got this right here on the side. In addition, I really like magazine and periodical. Again, the nice thing about the Genius Pack is they've actually got it marked, and they've got a lot of checklists, which I'll get into. So that is important that they've actually got this built right in here for magazines or periodicals. In addition, this strap right over here, the nice thing about this strap is if I want to attach a jacket or a random piece of clothing or a pillow, I've got this right there so I can do that. We've also got right here, and this is for umbrellas. All right. So we've talked about size, we've talked about comfort, we've talked about access. Number 4 is organization. So organization, one of the key parts with organization is actually having the pouches for where you need. So if I show you the pouch right here, we've got a Adopt kit. I really like, now I use the Blue Claw Adopt kit as well. It's not, you can't see it here, but basically having all these pouches, that is really nice for separating items out. Again, I've got all these pouches here on the side. In addition, one of the cool things about the Genius Pack is that we've got a laundry bag. So this is really nice, keeps my dirty laundry separate from my clean laundry. And when I'm traveling for a week at a time, that is really nice. Okay, so we've talked about size, comfort, access, and organization. Now let's talk about adaptability. What do I mean by adaptability? I mean for your luggage basically to change whenever you need it to. So this is where I'm talking about the expansion bay. This is something that again, my policy is I don't use this unless I have to. Right there, I can zip on this, go all the way around, and it'll give me an extra probably 2 inches of headroom. So we'll go from 9 inches in height to about 11 inches in height. Now you may say, okay, that's going to be an issue with the airlines. I do find that whenever you expand it, it's harder to fit in the overhead bins. However, when you need it in a pinch, it's nice to have that. In addition, you want to look for compression straps. This bag does not have compression straps, but if you're packing tight, I also like compression straps, not only for keeping everything together, but for identifying your luggage whenever it comes off the bin. And last but not least, let's talk about hidden compartments. So there are not really any hidden compartments on this, although you could say that the liner is a hidden compartment, but I like having a place where I can put items like my paperwork, things that if somebody, let's just say if someone were to go through my luggage, they're not going to be able to find that. I actually was strip searched one time in Ukraine, my first trip over there, and that was an interesting experience. And they did not find, let's just say, certain documents and little bits of cash that I had hidden in my bags. So those are the 5 tips. Bonus tip. Okay, so have checklists. I will just hit it on the Genius Pack one more time because I think they did a great job with this, but they actually have checklists right here and on the items. Checklists are nice because how many times have you been somewhere and then you get there and you forget to bring your charger, you forget your sunglasses? So checklists are beautiful because they allow you to focus on what's important and you don't have to think about those tasks, those things that you don't want to spend a lot of brain power even having to think about. So spend the time, create a checklist. Now, if you're a member of Build Your Wardrobe, which is my private membership site, you actually will get a checklist for free. So you'll see that you can just download it for free in Build Your Wardrobe. And I've got travel checklists, I've got buying checklists, I've got packing checklists, all types of stuff for you because I just make that for the guys in my private membership site group. But I do recommend anybody out there just take the time because you're going to have to adjust it to your particular needs anyway. So go out there, create a checklist, print it off, laminate it, put it right there in your luggage, whatever you may have, and you're going to find that that is going to be a lifesaver whenever you just don't have to worry about leaving having to buy things when you get there that are expensive and are kind of a waste. All right, guys. Hopefully you enjoy this and you found the 5 tips useful. I will see you in the next video. And remember, if you want more information about men's style, I've got a free 47-page ebook for you over at realmenrealstyle.com. You can go to it. The links are right below. Take care. Bye-bye.